Pew, 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 pew.
There he is!
Hello, and welcome back to Small Screen Stories. I hope you guys are all doing very, very well. We've got so much stuff to talk to you guys about today. We've got the Eternals trailer to talk to you about. We're going to be talking about that with Clint and one of Clint's friends as well. James is in a cabin in the woods somewhere, and but he still managed somehow to to come into the back office of all this. So he is still pulling the strings somehow. I don't know how the hell he's doing it. We've got a lot of stuff. We've got Ray Fisher to talk to you about. We've got and I've done all this. I did all this beforehand as well, trying to come up with all like a load of banners for things. Okay, we've got should Warner Brothers apologize to Ray Fisher? Will Ray Fisher get to play Cyborg again? Will The Flash be as good as Michael Keaton says it will be? Shang-Chi's positive reactions, can we trust them? Why is the Suicide Squad not doing very well at the box office? Free Guys being released in China, will it blow up over there? What cool things could happen in What If Season 2? And then should Stephanie Beatriz get to play Batwoman in a live-action movie? We've got all those things to talk about, and possibly more. Also, probably Robert Pattinson and how much money he's getting for the Batman, which isn't as much as you might think. But let's have a look at the comments, see what everyone is saying in there. So we've got Sean Harrigan in the comments. I hope you're doing very well, Sean. He says, greetings, looking forward to the show. We've got Bobby Anderson saying, hey, everyone, looking forward to the show. We've got Matt Oliveira in the comments over on Facebook saying, what's up? Sean Harrigan saying, go, Arnie, go. Kazakhs is in the comments as well. And Danzig 1979 is there as well, says, it's the weekend. Hey, y'all. It is the weekend for Danzig and I think. We've got...
Cocainum.
We've got cocaine, and we've got James. Kazakh saying James getting groovy in the woods. You know what he possibly is? I don't know. He told me he's going to a cabin in the woods. Hopefully, it's not going to be like a horror film for him over there. And he's going to have a very, very nice time. But let's bring in our first guest, regular co-host. We've got Clint Baker. How you doing, Clint?
What's up, gang? We're back. How y'all doing? How you doing, Edward?
I'm doing well. Again, I'm still here. I'm in my very own cabin on the beach, and cabin, it's a flat on the beach, an apartment is what you guys in America call it. Yeah, and
No beaches for me. After I saw Old, I swore off beaches forever. I'm done. I'm done with beaches. Sorry, gang.
oh man, beach isn't like the one in Old. Let's just say that. But yeah, I'm still here, which is why I'm still in this void, in this very echoey void. But no baby, so I can talk normally. The child has gone, which is good, which is good in that sense. But yeah, we got so much stuff to talk about. I think you've got a guest of your own to come on the show, haven't you? I think.
I do, man. I got my buddy Curtis. You're
Yeah.
talking about wanting to talk about what if, and
Yes.
Curtis, I was talking on a video call with him the other day, and he was busting out all these comics, and he's got Infinity Stones tattooed on his hand. I was like, hey, let's bring Curtis on just to talk about stuff because it'll be fun. And he knows.
Yeah.
He was talking to me about all of the crazy things that could be happening or that they might do. And you basically asked the same thing. So I was like, I think I know the right guy to bring in here. I'll just like everything,
Perfect.
and then I'll let Curtis talk about what if.
You
So
knew
what we're gonna
buddies, weren't you?
and there you go. We still got James somehow. Somehow putting the strings in the show in his cabin in the woods. So what I think we'll do is we'll bring in your buddy, and we'll start off by talking about the Eternals. Hey, how you doing?
Hello, how are y'all? Good to be here. Thanks
Curtis,
for
what's
having
up,
me.
man?
Not much. Good to see you again.
Brilliant having you on the show.
It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
It's a pleasure to meet you too.
I'm jealous of his hangout. What are you in a backyard patio?
Yes, the kids are normally awake whenever we do our show, so they are not. If we wanted it to be quiet, I got kicked outside.
Yeah, I completely understand. That was like, Clint, you got to turn your mic up. Apparently,
I just caught that.
yeah.
Nobody ever says that.
turn your mic up, Clint.
There we go.
As I said at the beginning, we're going to be talking about the Eternals trailer. So I wanted to bring you guys in to just get your views on the trailer and whether you think, as I've rather cunningly put it, is Eternals going to end up being Marvel's best ever film? So that's the question that I wanted you guys to answer, and also talk a little bit about the trailer. Why don't we start with you, Clint? What did you think of the second Eternals trailer?
I loved it, man. I absolutely loved it. Of course, Clint likes everything. No,
Exactly.
I saw it. Yeah, I got really excited. I mean, I was waiting for Hodor to come out because I saw Jon Snow and Richard Madden on there. I was like, holy cow, this is the best Stark trailer ever. No, but in all seriousness, I thought it was great. It looks really exciting. It looks epic. That's what everybody's been saying. Epic,
Yeah.
But it really does. Like the director, she's fantastic. And what's her name? Chloe Zhao.
Chloe Zhao, yeah.
Yeah.
Academy Award-winning director, Chloe Zhao.
She's an amazing film director, and she's done a lot of really cool visuals and does a lot of really cool shots and stuff. And just watching, the first trailer was just kind of like, it could be cool, but this, you actually see some stuff going down, and it's exciting. I think it's really cool. I feel like maybe you might have some people, and I'm not really even that familiar with the Eternals. Like, I don't know much about them. Curtis, what's up, dude? You're front and center. I feel like I don't even know. I don't know all the deep cuts. I've had this conversation before. I was learning to play guitar while other people were going home and reading comics, but I sat at the same lunch table and had all those conversations. You know what I mean? And I don't know a lot about the Eternals and the lore with that. That's why we got Curtis. But I will say, like, looking at that thing, I feel like to some people who don't know, it might come off like a way better looking, like Jupiter's Legacy, because all of a sudden you got this strong guy who can shoot.
Jupiter's Legacy keeps on coming up in this show.
I know, but I'm just saying, like it's like it's like you got a guy with powers who's strong, who can shoot laser beams out of his eyes, and he's in a fight. And they're like, is that like the poor man Superman? That's what I think a person who doesn't know, you know what I mean? Just an average Joe is gonna look at it and be like, huh, who's that guy? You know what I mean? I don't know if that's gonna affect anything. I think you know, you've got these big names you got on this thing. And I feel like everybody's going to say, dude, this movie's the best thing ever. And it's going to do great. You have the best, the top notch director and an amazing cast. So it's not going to hurt it. But I just had that thought. I was like, I wonder if some people who maybe are sick of comic book movies are going to roll their eyes a little bit, you know what I mean, when they see it. I don't know. I'm really excited about it. And Shang-Chi. What do you think, Curtis?
Oh, no, well, so first of all, what did the director win an Academy Award for? I'll plead ignorance.
No, she won Nomadland for Nomadland.
Nomadland. Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. The trailer looked great. I will say that I could imagine it being one of like Marvel's big push for a serious contender for Oscars. I could imagine it being Marvel's big push for a lot of things. And honestly, I kind of agree with you, Clint, about the Marvel fatigue. However, I think this is going to be a slow burn. The Marvel fans are going to go see it in the beginning. It's going to get out how good it is. And then what I think they're going to do with it, I think it's going to be a one-off. There will be other Eternal characters, maybe in some other Marvel movies, but I don't necessarily, if they do what I think they're going to do with it, I don't see there being like an Eternals series. Of course, this is speculation. I can be completely wrong. I think that they are doing this to introduce a lot of things, one of them being the mutants. Yeah,
that's interesting. Because this movie is going to introduce the Celestials. We know that because so I actually got the name of the Celestial wrong to begin with. I thought it was Essos. No, is it Essos? But apparently it's not. Apparently it's someone else, and there's something the judge. I'm forgetting the name now. Let me get it up. Arishem, the judge, apparently. Yeah.
Well, there's definitely more than one of them. Essos appeared in Guardians of the Galaxy or 2 in a small clip, and so he may as well have been the trailer for Eternals.
But everyone was freaking out thinking that was Galactus, but it wasn't Galactus because they wouldn't. First off, it didn't look like Galactus really, and they wouldn't also reveal Galactus in a trailer for Eternals because that's probably going to be their big Thanos-like villain this time. It's either going to be Galactus or Kang the Conqueror. So
I think this is for later for the what if conversation. I think we might see Galactus, but not in this movie.
No, but in what if season 2? We'll talk about that a bit later. Yeah, but I agree with both of you. I thought this trailer looked. I mean, the first trailer, Clint, you were talking a bit about. I thought the first trailer was pretty poor. To be honest, you could tell that they didn't want to give away too much, and I think Danzig in the comments says that. He said, "I felt like the trailer was holding back. I'm hoping, much like the Shang-Chi trailers, it will surprise you in the cinema." I do get that impression with these trailers for this movie, is they're holding a lot back. We're not seeing as much as which is what I like about Marvel. To be honest, they don't give away too much in their trailers. This movie, first off, it has so much Game of Thrones, like so many Game of Thrones actors in it. You've got Richard Madden in there, you've got Kit Harington in there. You've even got a character that's called Cersei, which is a bit weird. You've got like Chloe Zhao, probably one of the best, most promising directors to do a Marvel movie, and it sounds as though they kind of just let her do whatever she wanted really with this movie. Angelina Jolie's in a Marvel film. That's going to be insane seeing her in there. And just so much star power. Like Richard Madden, I've seen a lot of people comparing his character Icarus to that of Superman in Zack Snyder's Justice League and Man of Steel. Do you see that comparison between Justice League and Eternals based off this trailer? Clint, what do you think?
I think if you get a good-looking man with short dark hair who could shoot lasers out of his eyes and could fly and is muscular, I think they're going to say that looks like Superman. You know what I mean? It's like it's you know, if he had bleached hair, maybe they would let that would, you know, that would maybe they wouldn't say that, but they're like, oh, it looks like Superman, except he's got a red suit or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, so that that's when I say that as what I try to imagine what somebody, you know, if my dad saw that, is that guy supposed to be Superman? You know what I mean? Like that's but I think to all the fans, you know, everybody knows what's going on, you know, the fans at least.
Yeah.
So, and if they don't, you know what they're going to do? They're going to go on YouTube and they're going to research everything and know the backstory of everything. And you know, I think it's cool. I'm sure that the comic book stores and stuff are probably getting a big surge of people trying to go get all of these all this lore and learn it, you know. I think it's cool. I think it's exciting. Anytime you start putting out stuff that's not like the super mainstream comic book stuff, I get really excited because they're exciting new stories, you know.
Yeah, that's what I like about this. Actually, yeah. Go on, Curtis. What are you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, I at first, as a comic book fan, I didn't like what Clint was saying. You know, whenever they pick the obscure characters and stuff, I was like, oh yeah, you know, I didn't necessarily. But now knowing they can do so much more with them, because an established character. They still tweak them and stuff for the movies, but an established character, it's so hard to, you know, tweak them or add more to them or take more away. When you're talking about Superman, I think that's why Eternals was never a big book. Jack Kirby created and wrote these guys. Jack the King Kirby. He created and wrote the originals, but they were so grandiose. So because it's not just Icarus, it's a lot of them. They're basically a race of Supermen that could, you know, go in and solve any problem that existed. Well, so that's why they kind of had their own little niche thing, and they didn't quite fit. It'd come in and out, and so was sort of the issue in the comics. They're gonna fix that in the movies, because they've already kind of readjusted some things in the comics to kind of make it work more. With the movies, they've got to tone that down a little bit, and in the comics. Icarus is straight up a blonde dude. Just saying.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
There you go. I called it. Do you think this is going to lead into mutants?
Yes, I think that's why they're doing this. So that's where they're going with it. It might be 5 movies or 10 years down the road, but to get the X-Men, to get mutants back in, X-Men are directly exist in the Marvel universe because of Celestials. So especially in a universe where they don't like just have X-Men, like in the comic book universe, they're just like, we just have mutants. They're just here. They're just part of life. To force it into this universe, this is going to somehow lead to the mutants existing.
Yeah.
Cool.
I can go deeper down the rabbit hole. Y'all let me know.
Before you do that, I want to point out that James guy, our producer, says hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. So close to 1,000. Yeah, we're getting very close to 1,000 subs, which is fun. And then Dan Zig says this is one of the few Marvel properties where fans and general audiences are on a level playing field. This could have the Guardians of the Galaxy effect, where it appeals to a broader audience. I think he's right. I think this is. It's a bit like Guardians of the Galaxy in the sense that it's a comic book that only, or it's a comic book property that only certain kind of fan will really know anything about. Like Guardians of the Galaxy was pretty unknown as far as mainstream Marvel audiences are concerned. So I think that's actually going to be in its favor. I think having so many it's got a ridiculous cast again, having so many well-known actors. Chloe Zhao coming off an Academy Award as well for Nomadland. I think all this stuff just plays into it. Also, we've been hearing a lot of people at Marvel apparently saying this is the film that they think is going to win them an Oscar. You know, there's a lot of that going on as well inside of Marvel. I'm being told almost every other day by some Marvel PR that this is the film that they really want everyone to see. So, you know,
well, I think
it's going to be good.
I think that's the point. I think Dan Zig has a point. It's not only going to bring in non-comic book fans, comic book fans, but I think this is the one that they're trying to get like movies, not to be that guy, but movie snobs in the door. And, you know, the people who are like, I don't watch comic book movies, you know,
Suck
this
it,
one
Scorsese.
will get them in the door and get them hooked. Yeah, Martin Scorsese
It's
will be
'cause
like,
it-
damn it, they got me.
Yeah.
I think
it's
that's what
really
they're
is
trying to do.
cinema.
She does. Chloe Zhao does some really interesting things with just that are natural. Where people some of the shots that she's done and things, people are like, how did you get that sunset to look like that? She's like, no, that's a real sunset. That's not
Yeah.
computer generated. I actually captured that. Oh, wow. You know what I mean? She's just a very talented filmmaker. So
This new technique we call nature.
we've
been working on
new
it for
thing.
years.
It's called she's like the opposite of auto tune, but in the film, you know what I mean? She
Yeah.
like really does it. We didn't do that post. That's real. I think that's really exciting. I think if they get the beards right, you know, and the wigs, I think we're set, dude. Like, I think it's going to be fantastic. That's a call. Curtis,
that's been the major problem.
that's a callback to Jupiter's Legacy, Curtis, just to put you in the
Oh,
loop.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to check that one out.
No, it's not good. We had someone on the show last week try to say that it's good, and I think Clint and I just both kind of our faces were like, "What? What are you saying?" But yeah, Jupiter's Legacy. Oh man. All right, let's move on.
It's all subjective,
Yeah.
you know. And like another thing that I've heard that which I know we're going to talk about it at some point, but I've heard Shang-Chi is fantastic, and Marvel's, or from what I hear, the people at Marvel are not talking about that. They're excited about the Eternals. So if they got a really good movie that's about to come out and they're still talking about the Eternals must be really good.
Yeah. Kazakh says, so Eternals are going to irradiate the Earth somehow and activate the X factor of whatever is in certain people. So that's what you think is going to happen, Curtis. Do you reckon that might?
So to a degree, in the comics, so the Celeste is not the Eternals. The Eternals were put here by the Celestials to guard Earth. Okay. Well, so
against the Deviants specifically in the MCU. Yeah.
Yeah, the Deviants. So the Eternals came, and they, depending on what universe, but they came and they put egg in the Earth, and a celestial egg. This kind of leads into. There's one scene in Guardians of the Galaxy where Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Ego calls himself a Celestial, and so he could be like, and nowhere we know is the head of a Celestial.
Yes. So
he could be some transitioning point to becoming the Celestials that we see in the Eternals. But they put an egg inside the Earth of a Celestial, the Eternal, and then they were going to create a race to protect the egg. They didn't, of course, they didn't know that, but they created the Deviants, okay, and they were all fucked up or messed up, okay. They were bad guys, monsters, and all this stuff. So they're like, well, we messed that up. So they created 100 Eternals to protect the Earth. That worked. Celestials left, but the egg inside of the Earth are made out of Terrigen crystals, and it creates Terrigen mists, and that's what causes mutation. And again, this, depending on what universe, it can contradict itself to some degree, you know, of all that good stuff. But that's a toy box we're playing in. You know, that's what we've got to work with. But yeah, that's what causes mutation. That's what makes mutants. It basically, Terrigen basically causes hyperevolution, or to evolve faster.
Cool.
So that's the way that's the way they could use it in the MCU. Like they could do something along those lines. Say that whatever happens in Eternals kind of creates a knock-on effect that ends up creating mutants further down the line. It makes sense. It does make sense.
The egg gets cracked, the mist starts coming out, and then in a few years we got mutants.
Then Danzig says, I've always thought that Quantum Mania would introduce mutants, which is the next Ant-Man movie. I mean, maybe all of this could be linked. Something could happen in this movie that has a knock-on effect to the next Ant-Man film.
And I thought Scarlet Witch was going to crack open the universe, and they were going to come over from another universe. But
I think a lot of those things are going to happen. I think that What If and this the multiverse of madness and Quantum Mania, it's all kind of tying all Marvel properties together. And it's making it to where, you know, everything is canon. It's just a different universe. In the Fox universe, X-Men already happened. Mutants already existed. Now we just get to see the better version of them.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. Do you think, this is a question for both of you, actually, just off the top of my head. Do you think Marvel is in danger of going kind of too comic booky in a weird way? Because so far, all the movies in the MCU has actually been kind of relatively easy to follow and hasn't really gone down that kind of real comic book rabbit hole. Now that we're moving into phase 5, it does look like they're going to go further down that rabbit hole. Do you think that will have an issue for lots of mainstream audiences out there?
I think. You mind if I go first, Curtis?
Yeah.
Absolutely not, because I got to think about it.
I think I'm being polite. I don't like to. I don't want to talk over anybody else over there. But like, I think that we're at a point where they started off with very recognizable characters, and then they start introducing less recognizable characters, and they built their foundation on that, and now we're all 20 plus movies invested, and we're gonna see whatever they put out. Really, some things are more than it's like the Bad Batch is kind of a little niche for Star Wars, and not maybe all the people didn't see it, just the diehards. That you're gonna have some movies and some things that come out, but as long as you're using the world's top director and an all-star cast, we're all going to go see it. You know what I mean? So if they keep doing great casting, we're going to go see it, even if it's niche or not. We're going to see it. So but it's fun because now for these guys, for Kevin Feige playing in his toy box, he's had the chance to tell all these great stories that he's grew up reading and loves in this universe that he loves. He's painted this huge universe. And now he gets to do the deep cuts, and he gets to paint those pictures and do whatever he wants. And he's built a foundation. I don't think it matters really. Like if it gets a little too niche, because they've already made billions and billions of dollars. As long as the movies are still profitable, I think it's going to be fine. And if they, you do have like shareholders and CEOs and things upstairs that might make a face every once in a while, but all they got to do is get a little bit weird. That sale doesn't do so great. Okay, let's crank out a Wolverine movie. Boom, it's huge, and then okay, I'm gonna go sneak this thing in, and then go back and forth. It'll be fine. Yeah, like Feige's in a really great spot because he just keeps painting the pictures and telling the stories he wants to tell, and he can get a little weird and then just reel it back in.
Yeah,
and along those lines, so they are in danger of that to a degree, but they've measured it very well with, for example, something weird like WandaVision, and then something down to earth spy drama like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then Loki, and then now What If is a little weird. They're going into a little bit of weird territory, but the thing is, I think that two things. First of all, like if you didn't see Thor: The Dark World, it didn't really affect. I mean, it had major repercussions, but it didn't really, like, that wouldn't have ruined Endgame or Infinity War for you. So I think they're kind of thinking along those lines. And secondly, I think that WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, all these things, and putting the movies on Disney Plus, they're seeing the writing on the wall. They'll still release movies to theaters, but that's not what they're aiming for. Because sooner or later, you're going to be like, I don't care about Eternals. I'm not going to go see that. But then you're going to see another movie, and you're like, well, what the hell happened there? Yeah. I got to go get Disney Plus so I can see what happened, and then forget to cancel my subscription, and they got me for life.
Yeah, exactly.
I can buy one movie ticket for $10, or I can pay $10 a month for the rest of my life. Like, they know what's.
That article I read the other day that was talking about the new guy the old guy that had been there for a while that Feige appointed to be in charge of TV and stuff. They were starting a studio and stuff to take care of all the TV stuff. I think I read that they're also going to be doing or they're considering doing movies straight to Disney Plus that are not even supposed to be theatrical releases.
I wonder where you read that.
Oh, was it? It probably was. You're on my feed, man. I read all your stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's pretty awesome. And it's like, they're learning from Netflix. They're hey, we'll just crank some movies out.
Yeah.
Let's just hope.
I mean, that's what
good.
yeah, exactly. Let's hope they make it.
Unlike
That's Brad
Netflix.
Winderbaum is what you think is who you're thinking of. Yeah. So it looks like that's what they're going to be doing. They're planning on expanding, not just doing TV shows on Disney Plus, but also some Disney Plus only movies. Animated was what I was specifically told. So it seems as though the what if thing is going to be interesting, because I think that's a bit of an experiment for Marvel to see how people react to something which is part of the MCU, but also not really. So they can kind of get away with whatever they want. And that's where they can be a bit weird and a bit wacky. But we've definitely seen them go more into that area with Loki, with WandaVision, where I have been loving it, and I know a lot of people have been loving it, and the numbers have been huge. But I have heard from certain people on the internet that they didn't like these new Marvel properties because they're too weird. And I was like, well, yeah, but they're also really different and fun. So we'll just have to. It's doing well so far.
To a degree, I can get that, but I think that's what I mean. If I hadn't watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier, right, if it went from WandaVision to Loki, I probably still would have loved Loki. But it's I love the weird too. Like that's kind of my gig, but
yeah,
they tame it down. You know, they put something in there, a spy drama, something like Shang-Chi. I know they got the lasers or whatever in Shang-Chi and stuff, but it's a martial arts action movie at its core.
Yeah.
To tamp back down and then bring some more weird in and tamp back down, and as long as they keep a good balance, I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah,
I think so too.
It's kind of nice to get a little bit of variety. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're gonna have the She-Hulk show with Tatiana Maslany. It's supposed to be a courtroom show, from what I understand, which is a lawyer, but like
it's going to be.
I'm like, they're going to make it a courtroom show. This is like, they're like, let's do a court show. Let's do this. It's fun. It's if everything was Falcon and Winter Soldier, it would get boring really quickly.
I agree with that as well. Yes,
yeah,
I agree.
And I like sci-fi. So like when I see something that's more on the sci-fi edge, I get stoked. Fantasy, you know what I mean? Like that's awesome. And from what I understand, this Shang-Chi movie is supposed to be like way Chinese fantasy driven movie. It's not just like martial arts. I almost said karate. So it's not just martial arts, but you know what I mean? Like so I'm excited to see that. I was like, okay. Karate.
But actually, with She-Hulk, there's a lot of stuff that I've been hearing about She-Hulk that really has me excited. Apparently, there's going to be a lot of breaking the fourth wall in it. Tatiana Maslany, as a train passes by, so you probably can hear that. And the other thing I've been hearing is it's going to be a courtroom drama, but it's also going to be one of the writers I think said it's going to have Sex and the City vibes. Which
awesome.
Which I think is going to be kind of funny.
That's very, very true to the comics, and I'm so glad to hear that. There was a conversation, I don't know if it was on air or not, that Clint and I were having. So that's the thing. She-Hulk was they wanted girl Marvel characters, so they were like, "Well, just make copies of the boys," Well, they made She-Hulk, and she was like Hulk in the first series, and then she was dumped after 2 years. Then they kind of brought her back, and the writer was like, I'm going to do whatever I want with this. It's going to get canceled, whatever. And she was either the first or one of the first comic book characters to break the fourth wall. Like she was tearing through ads, the ad pages in the old comics. It would look exactly like that, except she would be tearing through it to fight the character through the ads and stuff like that. She would talk to the, camera in the comics, talk outside the panel, talk to the reader. So I'm very glad they're doing that. Like it's true to the character, and I'm not a big fan of Sex and the City. I mean,
I like the show. I enjoyed the show.
But it works in the comics so well, man. It just works.
That's what I think it was the writer that was saying. It was saying that they were looking back at some of the Sex and the City and Emily in Paris they were talking about, and being like giving it a slightly weird kind of that sort of vibe, but also keep the original kind of feeling of the comics with the fourth wall breaking and things like that. And I think it's just going to be really fun. I think that show is going to be like the fun kind of Marvel show, the one that I think a lot of people will tune in to watch. And it's Marvel kind of expanding its like its horizons really. Like they're making a show that's not really made. It's made for hardcore Marvel fans, but it also can bring in other people that likes shows like Emily in Paris and Sex and the City and Friends and those sorts of shows as well, which I think is a really smart idea. So,
Edward,
Well,
sorry there. Did you watch Orphan Black at all, Edward?
yes, with Tatiana Maslany. Yeah,
She's
it's really, really good. She's so good.
Curtis, if you haven't seen that show, it's a fantastic show. She's a really awesome actress. Like she's like so good. Like it's a clone show, and she plays multiple parts, and the accents are awesome. Like even just playing like a normal American suburban soccer mom type character, it's like a different person. Like she's and then all of a sudden she's a Ukrainian person, and she's just awesome. She's really really talented.
Is the accent as good as Edward's? Because that guy went to high school with me. Like I know you're on TV and stuff, but come on, you don't have to fake that accent, man. Like
Edward does a
he
really
went to
good
high school with me.
Yeah. Edward does a great British accent. You know, we were complaining about accents, but Edward's is really good.
I'm really from Kentucky, and no one knows that. Yeah, I'm really, really excited to see. I think taking it back to Eternals, I think that's going to be a really huge, a huge movie for Marvel, just in so many different ways. I think I'm going to predict it now. I think it's going to win one of the big Oscars. I think it's going to be a massive contender. And I think She-Hulk is going to also, I think it's going to do really well at the Emmys. I think next year we've got Loki that's going to be up for something at the Emmys, whatever it is, I don't know. I'm hoping that Tom Hiddleston and Sophia DiMartino might get something. But, you know, I just think that they're going all out on this. And I think people that are worried about Marvel getting a bit too weird don't really have anything to worry about, because Kevin Feige has proven himself to be the best producer in Hollywood. I mean, even Ben Affleck has said that you know, Batman on the other side of things has said that Kevin Feige is the best producer that's ever lived. So I don't think anyone's got anything to worry about. I wanted to move it on to Shang-Chi. So we've got some positive reactions that's come out of the premiere for Shang-Chi. Unfortunately, I was desperately trying to get us, Clint. I was desperately talking to Disney, trying to get us some screeners for Shang-Chi, but we're not on that list, unfortunately. Small screens not on that list. They said that they're limited.
We need more subscribers, guys. Yeah, guys, subscribe.
Exactly. You got to like and subscribe. Hit that fucking like button, as I always say. But we'll, let's talk about Shang-Chi's positive reactions. Can we trust them? Because we get a lot of these early reactions and things like that, where I distinctly remember Wonder Woman 1984 getting a lot of positive buzz to begin with, and then I watched the movie. I was like, what movie did they watch? Because it's terrible. But what do you think about Shang-Chi? Go ahead, Clint.
I'm excited. I thought it looked fun for the first trailer I saw. It looked fun. You know what I mean? Like the whole Rumble in the Bronx style fight scene in the bus. I was like, I'm in. Get Tony Leung is a great actor. I think it's going to be good. Do I trust the reviews? I trust Robert Meyer Burnett. I like that guy, and I trust him. And I saw a video where he walked out of the theater and he was like 10 out of 10. If that guy doesn't have something to say, I think it's going to be pretty good. I trust that guy. Yeah. I think if you're wondering about reviews, you should look at who you're getting your reviews from, and if they say things like that all the time, well, then we got to wonder. But if you got somebody
sorry,
yeah, but if
his name is Brandon.
You know, Clint likes everything. You know, so
his name is Clint Baker.
So I feel good about that. I trust that guy's opinion. That's a guy that I follow, and I trust his opinion. I don't know anybody that has seen it personally that has seen it. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm excited. I've already got my ticket, so I'm excited.
What about you, Curtis?
So I'm excited. I did enjoy the trailer. The fact that Abomination's in there really got me going for it. I'm aware of this character. I have not read a lot of him. he is I would say a very minor character in the comics universe. Not minor, but he's for fans of Shang-Chi. I'm sorry, but I'm just
he was
like
an Avenger. He was an Avenger, Curtis. Come on.
Well, I think he was West Coast Avenger, but yes, you're right. But his books weren't a big seller and stuff like that, and so it makes me wonder where they're going with him. That's what makes me, because that's what anytime I do it, because they don't necessarily absolutely pull from the comic books. We know that by now. They create their own stuff, but you got 50 years, almost 100 years, no, not quite, but of storylines that people have loved. So why are you going to mess it up that much? So I wonder where they're going with this. Like with Eternals, I see where they're going. With a couple of the other movies that are coming down the pipe, I see where they're going. With What If, I think I see where they're going, but who knows? But with Shang-Chi, I'm not sure. Besides introducing the character and kind of having a badass, martial arts character.
I had. Sorry to interrupt you, Curtis, but
no, that's it. That's what I got.
But what I was going to say is, I had wondered if because you see some like fights and stuff in this, and it's kind of big cage fight thing, like a tournament thing going on, Mortal Kombat tournament kind of thing going on. I wondered what characters, like, are we going to all of a sudden see a cage fight and Wolverine shows up? You know what I mean? But
no.
Yeah, I know. I know that's not going to happen. But
it was a dream.
But it also, like when I was watching Falcon Winter Soldier, I was like, are we going to see some super soldiers that end up like, from in this thing, that take the serum, or what is going to happen? I don't know. It's exciting. That's the coolest thing. Like we saw what we saw in the trailer, but what is going to surprise us? Who knows what characters are going to introduce? You know what I mean? That's what's really cool.
That's kind of what's got me a little bit more jazzed for it, because exactly, I don't know where they're going with it. Like I'm again, I know the character, I'm aware of the character to a certain degree, but like, why would you, like Guardians, they're going space stuff, that's why they're pulling this kind of obscure group, and other small bits and pieces here and there. I was like, okay, that's why they're doing this. With him, I'm like, I'm not sure why, unless, and I'm not trying to be mean, but to get billions of dollars from the China market.
Well, the thing is with Shang-Chi, it's not actually coming out in China, and this is the thing it's really confused me about Shang-Chi, is they're not releasing it in China. It didn't get the release because it's only, I can't remember how many movies can get into China. I think it's like 27 or something, like Hollywood-based movies. That it didn't get in. Free Guy got in, which we'll talk about in a second. But with Shang-Chi, I think it is that they're really targeting a very specific market with that movie, and it's just unfortunate for them that they weren't able to get it into China. But also, apparently, because I've got a lot of friends that work in China, lots of journalists that work out there, and they all said the same thing. They were like, this movie would have never worked if it was released in China, because Chinese audiences apparently just don't want to see Chinese people in their movies. Apparently they just don't test well. And one of the journalists specifically told me that apparently Awkwafina's a problem in China. And
the water, Awkwafina?
The actress.
The actress.
I don't know who that is.
She's
her name is Awkwafina?
She's
her
a
name's
rapper.
Awkwafina,
Yeah, she's a rapper and an actress, and she's the one that was driving the bus in the trailer that looks over. So she's playing the Sandra Bullock part on the speed chase.
Yeah. And apparently a lot of the actors they cast. Actually, I think Titolani's brought this up. Yeah, the Chinese government is apparently unhappy with Shang-Chi because actors aren't from China. A lot of the actors they got in are from Hong Kong. And that is an issue as well for the Chinese government. But then again, when Disney hired an actress from China, the woman that played Mulan, that ended up becoming a massive political headache for them, because she then started talking about politics and wasn't very nice towards people in Hong Kong. So it's just, the whole thing is a massive headache. And
now I understand. Yeah. Now I understand.
Yeah, it's
what they're looking for is something. I think it's really for Asian people of Asian descent. It based in the Western world, in the US and Europe. That's the niche now that they're hoping that Shang-Chi will go towards. Honestly, all I care about is the movie, and hopefully, if these positive reactions are to be believed, and I think you're right about Robert Meyer Burnett. Actually, I do listen to what he says and things like that, and a lot of people have been saying the same thing. I think this is Marvel exploring a new area, which is martial arts movies, and I think that's really exciting. And I think Simu Liu is a really, really good lead, and apparently was the only choice for the role that they could think of, and that they wanted him to begin with, even before he went on Twitter and said, "Hey, cast me as Shang-Chi."
I heard some things that there was some Chinese reviewers or somebody that was saying that that people in China didn't find him good looking enough to be playing that character, which is interesting. And there was also some other things about Shang-Chi where in the comics his father was like Fu Manchu, and it was a very racist looking
yes,
in 2021.
Fu Manchu absolutely was.
So that they didn't like that and had to
they
reassure the Chinese government.
They tweaked it. They made him a Yakuza boss or something like that?
Yeah. Well, they've changed that. Yeah, they said, I think Feige said they were never going to bring in Fu Manchu
nor should they.
The movie. No. But China's a weird market to try and break, and like, why did Avatar do so well in China? No one really knows. And it's just a market that's still very young, and Hollywood is still trying to work it out. So they'll make mistakes along the way. I don't think Shang-Chi's a mistake. I think it was just if they were thinking that this is going to do well in China, then they need to look at how they market their movies if they really want them to work in China. Specifically, I don't care. I don't want them to make movies for a specific market to do well in a specific market.
I agree.
They're going to have some problems with the Eternals in China too, because the Chinese government doesn't like Chloe Zhao either. She said some things, got misquoted, and it was a misprint. And basically, where it looked like she said that China wasn't her country, but she was really saying like that the United States wasn't her country. She's from the Chinese government didn't like that, so that's what they say. They're going to have a hard time with the Eternals in China too. So, but it's okay as long as they're good and we get to see them. That's all I'm worried about.
Yeah,
well, and in my opinion as well, martial arts needs a resurgence anyway. It's been a while since we've had a bunch of good martial arts movies. If this is hopefully this will be what kickstarts it. Not even necessarily Disney movies or Marvel movies, like some damn good martial arts movies coming back at us again, then I'm happy with that.
Yeah,
I completely agree. Yeah.
Somebody said it was the best martial arts movie since The Raid, is what one guy said. So that's exciting.
Wow. So I suppose we all think we can trust the reviews then. We're all looking forward to this. Let's have a look at what people are saying. Sean Harrigan says, I have faith Shang-Chi will rock, just have a feeling. And then Danzig says, it certainly has a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon feel. Also, R.I.P. Sony Chiba. That's true.
Preach, Danzig. R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. We have some people. So Tizilani was talking about the Eternals. Said I don't think the Eternals will make $1 billion, but definitely between 500 and 7 million at the box office. Who knows? If it doesn't get into China, it won't cross $1 billion. I don't think.
But I agree. I still think it's going to be a slow burn. That's what I mean. Regardless, I think it's going to be.
Yeah, that's true. And the other thing is that a lot of people forget about is that, well, not really forget about, but actually, I think we're one of the only outlets, small screen, that have been talking about how well the Snyderverse has been doing, specifically Zack Snyder's Justice League has been doing in China. And that's the sort of movie that seems to do well in China. Like, here we go. Snyder Cut made 500 million streams in China because it had a Chinese actor. I don't think it's because it had a Chinese actor. I think China loves to support characters born and raised in China. It does have the guy that played, I'm forgetting his name now, the scientist that then becomes Atom.
It also had It also had Batman in it. So that really helps.
I think that's why it did so well. Because actually, the original Justice League did well over there as well. So they just seem to like that property, and I think Zack Snyder's version was just a better version of that, and it did well. It wasn't released in cinemas over there. I think if it had been, it would have made a bomb. Ryan Choi is his name. Ryan Choi is the Chinese actor that was in that movie. That I think that might have been one reason, but I think the film is just the kind of movie that people like in China.
And DC had DC is obviously much older, or good generation older than Marvel, 30 years old or so older than Marvel.
Yeah,
and they had much more worldwide release than Marvel.
Yes,
it was like the 70s or 80s before Marvel was even, and it still wasn't worldwide, but considered multinational, where they could get releases and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and a lot of times they were completely different characters. It just was like a rights thing.
Yeah, it's always happening over in China. I mean, I spent quite some time in Southeast Asia, and you just notice when you're there, DC has a massive presence. Mm-hmm. Whereas Marvel doesn't really. Like Batman is literally everywhere. But there is so many references to Batman, and there are fake ones as well, which is really funny. But it's a character that's much more recognizable than Iron Man, Captain America. Like Captain America does so poorly in China, it's unbelievable. They just
wait,
yeah.
Really?
Yes, it's quite funny how badly
Captain Britain?
Captain Britain probably do better. Yeah, because there's a whole history there, especially with Hong Kong.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's a good point. I thought you were joking, but fair. That's a good point.
No, it's true. It probably would do better, actually. Actually, that's the one thing I want to see a Captain Carter movie. That'd be brilliant. We got Dan Zig saying, I think Shang-Chi may benefit from repeat viewing. 45 days may be too long to wait. That's another thing that really has me worried about for the film. The 45 experiment release window in cinemas. What do you guys make of that?
I think experiment is a poor choice of words.
Bob Chapek just can't get anything right.
Yeah, insert foot in mouth. He doesn't care. He's like, whatever, I'm in charge. But yeah, like I've had a release on a music release on Columbia Records, and if I'd have heard the CEO of Columbia Records call it, or President Donnie Einer call it an experiment, it definitely would have pulled the wind out of my sails. I feel for them, dude. But yeah, I think it's good. I think not having it on TV will be good. People are going to go see it. And I think if people don't rush out immediately and see it on the first weekend because of the Delta, people are freaked out. I think the numbers are going to be consistent and stay for a while. Jungle Cruise, even like you got some movies like Suicide Squad that had came out of the gate and then just dropped off, and Jungle Cruise just keeps staying up there, just cruising along. And I feel like maybe people are freaked out to go into a fully crowded theater, but they're like, okay, I think it's thinned out. We'll go to the movies now, and maybe they're doing that, and that's why the numbers.
Point. I never thought about it.
I wouldn't have thought that if I hadn't heard about Jungle
I do that in a regular
numbers.
year, honestly. Like unless it's a huge movie for me, I do that in a regular year. I'm not gonna go when it's full. Like it's just gonna be a nightmare.
Yeah,
that's a very good point.
I go the first showing of any movie that I want to see. I'm there first
I'm in a
showing.
Midnight show for some movies, but for a lot of them,
I just wait until the second week. Usually,
for a lot of them.
Yeah, if I'm not reviewing it, I tend to. I think Free Guy might be that.
You don't like everything. Clint likes everything, so he's gonna go to.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the grumpy one. Actually, Clint, I've got a bone to pick with you. Right.
Uh-oh.
You told me to watch Fast 9. All right. First off, it's taken me a week to finish this movie. It's terrible. The film is terrible. And the magnets thing is that I was watching this movie going, what is this film? If you have a great big thing in a metal car that has magnets in it, it would literally crush the car.
Dude, it's
Or short
supposed
out
to.
all the electronics.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be so stupid. It's fun. That's the point.
But it's not. It's not. It's so stupid. It's stupid. It's one of those films that I was watching. I was like, this is the dumbest shit I've watched in a long time. And I've watched a lot of dumb shit. And I was sitting there and I was like, Vin Diesel is crap. Like, literally, is that every other line for him is family.
Family, man.
And then the whole like, oh, we're going to invent a brother out of nowhere that is also. I'm sorry, but if you guys cast people, at least cast people that are the same race as the person they're meant to be related to.
Look remotely similar.
But there are three of them in that Toretto family, and none of them are of the same background. They're all different ethnic backgrounds. Yeah. I'm like, what is this Toretto family? Seriously?
Mama Toretto was a busy lady, you know.
Yeah, dude, I don't.
2.5 hours, Clint, of my life I'm never gonna get back, and that's your fault because you're like, go watch it, it's fun, you know. And I was like, all right, I'll watch it. It's shockingly bad, and there's a really awful scene in it where he jumps off again. How does Dominic Toretto keep his white shirt so bloody white in every movie he's in? Because he's jumping off all sorts of things. So there's one point he jumps off some big, I don't know what it is, a lorry or something, and then he does that. Like, they don't do the cool guys walk away from explosions and don't look back. He actually looks at the explosion, just stands there. The shit is going all around him, and I'm like, what? This is so stupid,
dude. He lives his life a quarter mile at a time. What can I say, man?
Oh my god, I can't believe they're still making these films.
So Edward, that's a very good point because with the white shirt, I never noticed that. Obviously, being Vin Diesel's kind of big guy, like I'm a fairly big guy myself. I wear a white T-shirt. I walk outside, it's yellow. Just like you just sweat. It happened. Like not even the smoke and the bombs and stuff. It's like you just walk out. Like white T-shirts are just out of my repertoire.
I want to see him with like a mustard stain or something. Like,
right.
We had a barbecue earlier today. I had a Corona and a hot dog. Family.
Oh, can I say one last thing about the film, and then we'll move on. It ends because I was thinking, okay, are they going to have the same beer brand in this movie, given what's happened and given the fact that a lot of people in the United States stopped buying Corona beer because it's called Corona.
Because that's how you get it.
Yeah, and then it ends with a shot of Corona beer, and of course, all these fucking movies end with a bloody like barbecue. They're all drinking Corona beer, and I was like, "This just seems like a massive fuck you."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, fine. You know what? That one scene might have made the movie for me because I just couldn't stop laughing."
You were. It's really funny that that beer sales for Corona went down. That's so funny. But yeah, I remember you were saying, "Are they going to have a barbecue in this thing?" And I didn't say anything because I'd already seen it. I was like, "I'm not. No spoilers for me, man."
Oh man, and that whole end scene with where Vin Diesel's like, there's an empty chair. And they're like, oh, don't worry, he's coming. Just got a car that comes at the end. I'm like, this is such a dumb movie. Like, I just want these to end. No wonder even The Rock doesn't want to be in them anymore. You know, the Rock was in Jungle Cruise, which I've just watched. It's not very good.
Yeah,
that film isn't very good either.
I love Emily Blunt, but I didn't think that was going to be very good. But.
Yeah, and that's another ethnic issue there. The Rock is. I'm going to spoil it. He was a conquistador. I was like, sorry. What? He's not a bloody conquistador. If you're gonna write these movies, at least get your ethnic backgrounds right. Come on, guys, seriously. Oh man, so much wrong.
Biggest conquistador in the history of the world.
Yeah, but they give him like long hair and a beard. It's just like, oh, it's Hercules again. Oh dear,
dude, it's acting,
anyway.
Edward. It's act. That's why it's acting.
It's just let's pay him $50 million for this movie.
Sir Ian McKellen is not actually a wizard.
Oh yeah, well,
For you
no.
see,
well,
I'm
actually,
not actually a wizard.
No, but he has magnetic powers, right?
Absolutely.
yeah, he does.
Well,
Yeah,
then
definitely.
all
Here we
is
go.
right with the world.
Kazakh says he's Spanish with a really, really good tan. and the other thing about that movie that I love, that I just finished Jungle Cruise today, and I was like, okay, so he's meant to be of Spanish descent, but he has like, again, I'm going to go on about accents here, but he's like, he has like out of nowhere an American accent, even though he spent his whole life living in Brazil. Because he can't get away from a bloody river, and then he tries to speak Spanish in the movie, and it's obviously he can't speak a word.
Wait, I have not seen the film, but they speak Portuguese in Brazil.
Oh yeah, well they speak Portuguese, but they're Spanish conquistadors. So the whole is that the Spanish went there because I'm not going to go into it because it's just not a very good film. Emily Blunt is very good in it. And I will actually, and then it's the one movie, one Disney movie where they have a gay character, but they still don't. the amount of insinuation that's in this. It's an English actor that I'm forgetting his name now. Jack Whitehall is in this movie, and he plays Emily Blunt's brother in the film. And of course, the very first minute you see him, you think, yeah, he's gay. He's definitely gay. There's, and then they have to have this scene between him and The Rock where he kind of says, he doesn't basically say I like men, but he kind of says that, and it's like we're at this point where Disney is kind of inching more and more towards just eventually just being like having a character that's going to go finally, probably in 10 years' time, I'm gay, which is literally just they're like inching towards it.
By that time, by that time, hopefully, America goes, who cares? Like,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Nobody cares.
And Disney will be like, yes.
Yeah, it's like, hey guys, we had
nailed it.
Yeah, we had. Is it two guys kissing? They had in Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker or something. I think in the background they had that, and then there was. So they're getting close, and now they have Jack Whitehall saying that he prefers the other side. I think was the line that he said. I'm just like, oh, for Christ's sake.
And Loki the other.
Loki, yeah, which that is right. Where he's Anyway, Ed, Ray Winston's not Russian. #acting says Danzig. Yeah, that's another. God, don't get me started on that. Dan. Seriously, let's move on. Let's move on to What If Season 2, which is what you wanted to talk about, Curtis, all along. You're just waiting for me to get off that tangent. So, what cool things What If Season 2 could explore?
So, I would like y'all to discuss it right quick. I got to go handle something inside, of course.
Cool.
And I'll be right back with what I think down the rabbit hole.
Awesome.
But what did y'all think? Well, have y'all already discussed episode 1?
Not yet. I don't think we haven't discussed it.
We have not. Episode 1 was fantastic. Episode 2 was fantastic. You know what I mean? Like I can't wait to see the whole rest of the first season. Much less think about season 2. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. Like just the rest of season 1. We can talk about season 2, but it's a little early. I think the rest of season 1 is going to be pretty interesting. Fantastic.
The only reason I put in season 2 though is because the creator of What If basically confirmed that season 2 was happening. Yes, it'll absolutely be. But you go and deal with what you have to deal with, Curtis, and then come back when you can.
Let me go handle children. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, man. Well, I really hope that they do a Captain Carter anything. Like I really love the actress that plays her,
Haley Atwell.
And I think they should do a show where like do a Captain Carter live action thing. I think it would be really cool.
After having seen the first episode, I was like, I want to see Captain Carter. I think I have really enjoyed both of these episodes. Actually, I think I might have preferred the first episode a bit more. I know a lot of people have really enjoyed the second episode. So the second episode is What If T'Challa's Star-Lord, which already is kind of a bonkers idea. I was a bit like, how is this going to work? And then you watch the episode. Yeah, go on. You got a little.
I got a little lump in my throat for a second, a little like from it. I got a little touching thing there.
Yeah, it's really touching because, of course, Chadwick Boseman did voice the character in the episode and does a brilliant job. And the very first thing that you realize is that, you know what, if T'Challa was Star-Lord, T'Challa would have genuinely been renowned across the galaxy. And I think we can't discuss episode 2 without saying that literally the guy he stopped Thanos by just talking to him, which I think is brilliant. And Josh Brolin is back voicing Thanos in this episode. And you know what? I kind of wish that we'd have Thanos back in the MCU and he could be that Thanos. That would be so cool. But go on, let me know what you thought about the episode.
I loved it. I really liked Thanos in that episode. I was like, him not trying to kill everyone is awesome. You know what I mean? He was really, really fun. And then I just thought about it. I was like, you know, Thanos might not be that bad of a guy. He just believes that what he was doing needed to happen. And maybe he's not that bad. You know what I mean? But he just really believed he needed to save the universe, you know? But watching him in that show, it was really fun. I liked the whole thing. I really liked Benicio del Toro's character in that. He was cool. And I really loved Howard the Duck popping up, which is awesome. But it's really funny. The night before, I was actually having a conversation about Howard the Duck, about him showing up more. And then I go and watch this show, and there's Howard the Duck. Yeah, it was really fun. I did have a friend text me, and she pointed out, she's like, I have a huge problem with the show. I go, what is it? She's like, well, if T'Challa got picked up as a child, then why, when he's fully grown years later, why did he have such a thick accent if he was picked up as a young child? I go, hey, that's a good question. So she was kind of being funny, but yeah, it was pretty. But that's a fair question.
Seriously, we just talk about accents on this show. We should call ourselves the accent show. But no, I agree. To begin with, I was thinking I'm not sure if this works, because if T'Challa was taken as a kid, surely he'd immediately be like, okay, I've seen bits of the galaxy. I need to go back now because he's got this huge sense of duty. And he knows he's, the future king of Wakanda. So there was that element that I wasn't sure about. And then there was the whole thing with Michael Rooker's character. I'm forgetting his name now. Yeah. What's his name?
I can't remember his name either. But
Yondu, yeah.
Yondu, yeah.
And,
I thought
and then he's like, oh, I didn't take you. He lied to him, basically. It was how they kind of wrote the way out of that one using that line, which I was a bit like, okay. Well, surely he would have, wanted to go back on his own and see it for himself,
I liked Kurt Russell's flowing, his perfect animated hair. I was like, yeah, that's accurate. Good old Jack Burton.
So we got Danzig saying, anyone a bit disappointed that RDJ, Chris Evans, Tom Holland, ScarJo, Brie Larson are not voicing their characters? Chris Pratt didn't voice Star-Lord either, and Dave Bautista didn't voice Drax either. What do you think about that?
I thought Chris Evans was involved.
No, it wasn't Chris Evans that was doing it. I think it was someone else. I'm pretty sure. Maybe he's involved somewhere down the line.
Yeah,
I don't know. But he wasn't in that last episode.
So I've been very impressed with both of them. Honestly, I've collected a lot of What If. It's one of my favorite comics, because it just kind of it can kind of do whatever. And I think that's what they're going to do with the show. They're going to introduce people for the movies, or maybe not, and then but still introduce these characters, and then they can just brush them aside if they want to. With Peggy Carter, honestly, when I saw that as the first episode, I'm like, all right, I'll check it out. It ended up being very good. And they never call her Captain Britain.
No.
But
that's because I'm going to be Captain Britain. I'm sorry, that's why.
Captain Kentucky, you mean? Captain.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
But I think that so they always called her Captain Carter. When she wakes up in the future time, okay. First of all, let me predicate all this with saying that I believe that there is going to be a wrap-up episode where they kind of all tie the storylines together. I have no evidence of that. I think that that's what they're going to do. And so when she wakes up in 20 whatever, people that see her and see the suit will call her Captain Britain. It'll be an unofficial title. I think that's what they're going to do. And if you look, Captain Britain and Excalibur in the comics, which they're not going to introduce all that by any means, but they protect Stonehenge, which is a nexus point as well to multiverses, and I think that leads into what they're doing right now.
That would be good. Yeah.
The T'Challa episode made me think. I believe that they're going to introduce Galactus. Now, this is pure speculation, but with the end of the episode being with Peter Quill, and Peter Quill's a loser, he's not damn Star-Lord. He's a guy working at Dairy Queen. Okay, and if your dad, who is a God with a small g, approaches you and says, hey, let's take over this world, and you're a dude working at Dairy Queen, you're much more likely, having not seen the universe, to do that. So what I think they're going to do is have that occur. They're going to come back to that storyline. It might be, and I think that's going to be towards the end, episode 8 or 9, where that happens. They come back and that happens. He takes over with his dad to take over the Earth. Ego is a living planet. Besides Baby Groot with a bomb, what could beat a living planet? Well, Galactus, the world devourer, could defeat a living planet. So they introduce Galactus in a small way in this episode, I think, or down the line. They introduce him. And then what stops, and if you're not familiar with the comics, this is all, it's a little bit, here and there, but you can absolutely look it up on Marvel Wikipedia or whatever, the Marvelpedia or whatever it is. But so he eats the consciousness of Chris Pratt, but he's still hungry and he's going to eat the rest of the Earth. What can stop him? Well, in the comic books, he became Galactus, the life bringer. And instead of devouring worlds, he brought life to them. That's all he did. Any world he went to that was dead, he would give it life. That is exactly what T'Challa wants. They took the Genesis dust or whatever it was. And if you give that to somebody, he's going to be damn full. So it can stop him. So I think they're going to introduce Galactus, have him stop, but that's only in whatever universe that they're talking about right now. And it's to get a big piece of Galactus so that they can introduce him into the Fantastic Four universe that's coming, whatever, down the line.
That's actually, I never thought about that. Yeah, it will make a lot of sense. And I think you're right. I think that all these alternate all these alternate timelines are going to connect somehow, I think, which is why we've got the Watcher that's telling us these stories. I think there's a larger story at play here, and also each episode so far has ended with a bit of a cliffhanger. You got the first one with Captain Carter being brought back by I'm forgetting names now, by Nick Fury. And then you've got this last episode that has Ego, the living planet, coming into the Dairy Queen and seeing his son, Peter Quill. So those two elements, I think, will. Yeah, and you're right. There was I can't remember what it was called. What you said, that green stuff that he was looking for,
Genesis dust or something like
which
that.
I think, I think that'll probably come into it as well. Yeah. So I think it's gonna be a really interesting story arc. I think.
I agree as well. And of what we know is coming, Marvel Zombies is coming, and that absolutely started in a Fantastic Four storyline. So I think that we're gonna see again, all speculation. I think we're gonna see Galactus. We're gonna see the Fantastic Four, and it's our first little gut punch of them. It's not gonna be a full episode by any means. And it might even be like something like, well, this Reed Richards guy from Universe 2432 said we could do this or do this to kill him, and it might just even a mention. But I think we're going to see or hear a little bit about both of them to set up for phase whatever the hell's next. 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, phase 5.
Yeah, it's phase 5 next.
Well, we're in phase 5, but I think it'll be the next phase, so phase 6.
Yeah.
I also
that makes perfect sense to me.
I want to give honorable mention to Nebula in the show. I really like her voice, like Karen Gillan's voice. It's just
Karen
like
Gillan,
I just didn't realize it until I saw that animated version of her. I like her characters. Like I like her character in the live action, but animated, I was like, I like her voice. Kind of like
speaking so tersely in the movie. She's always speaking so tersely.
Yeah, kind of like
It's
the
true,
mom from Married with Children, who's in Futurama. Who's her voice is she's got a very specific voice. You hear that voice, you're like, dude, I know who it is. You know, I didn't realize that Karen Gillan had great of a voice. So, side note, high five, Karen.
Clint, you're going to have to take over the show for a second because my internet's is playing out.
Uh-oh.
So I'm going to have to leave and then I'll come back in. Yeah, so you take over for a sec, right?
All
Can
right.
you do that? Can you even do that?
I can. I don't know.
All right. Let's see.
I don't know if I'll get kicked off or not. We'll see. Here
You're
we are.
You're gonna need buttons. Do you have buttons?
I've got buttons.
More than one, plural buttons.
Buttons, plural.
Oh,
yeah. So that was exciting, man. Watching these what if things. It's nice because it gives us a little bit something just a little different than the average show, and it's something to look forward to. You know what I mean? Like, okay, what's the next one going to be? I like that we don't know. You know what I mean? It would take the fun out if we got a list of what all of them were going to be ahead of time. You know what I mean?
I agree. I was trying to look up that before the show. What are they going to be? So because I'm trying to piece it together, and to me that's part of the fun. I do like not knowing as well too, but like just
I'm back. Sorry.
Hey. Yeah, the surprise of not knowing is really fun. And I think I was doing a video call with you, Curtis, the other night, and I forgot that there was a new episode out, and I was gonna go to bed, and I was like, oh, holy crap! And so I jumped in, and I was like, cool. It was really exciting, and I love that they release these things in the middle of the night, because I'm a night owl, and it's just like just a treat. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right.
It was not so. I'm very glad. So for me, whenever I went to bed, it had not released yet. But it was after midnight. It was 1 or something in the morning.
Yeah.
I have to get up at 5 in the morning. So I am very glad that it wasn't released because as much as I was a zombie for the next day or the next couple days, I would have been even more so. It's a short show, but it would kill me.
Hey, Rajneesh, thanks for saying you enjoyed the show.
Raj, hey, good to see you, man.
So he obviously Raj was watching your guys' show. Was it the Versus show you do?
Versus, that's a new show
was
that
the
we're
show you
doing
were doing?
Tuesday nights.
Good. Everyone should check that out. Everyone should check that on the is it the Clint Baker channel? Is that what it's called? Plug it. Why don't you plug it?
YouTube.com/Clint Baker channel. Yeah. Are you getting a lag over there,
Awesome.
Edward?
Hey, still a little laggy on.
Yeah, I am. It's my internet. It's because I'm using internet here in Italy, which isn't brilliant.
He's stealing internet. Stealing internet from his neighbor in Kentucky, and they figured it out. They changed the password on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's what's happening.
Tom Hanks's password is one Forest one. Anyway,
oh dear.
So what?
Let's move on because I feel like you're gone.
I was just gonna say, what other topics would you like to jump onto?
Yeah, I'm probably, because this is probably going to cut out for me any second now. So I just wanted to talk to you guys relatively briefly about Ray Fisher and his recent comments that he made at MegaCon in Orlando, where he basically said that he would definitely come back and play Cyborg, but he would like Warner Brothers to apologize to him. What did you make of his comments, and do you think Warner Brothers is ever going to apologize to Ray Fisher?
Man, I don't know. I feel like it depends how bad they want to make a movie with Cyborg in it. You know what I mean? If they were to recast him, it would be a shitstorm. You know what I mean? Because they'd be like, why did you recast this guy and y'all mistreated him and so I don't know. I don't know that it'll ever happen. I still don't know the details of all the bad stuff that happened. I just know he made claims that he was treated unfairly, and there was all kinds of serious claims. And then they had judges come in, that like independent judges come in and that, you know, that are in probably, I don't want to say it, but like maybe in bed with the studios, and so they sided with the studios, or maybe they weren't. And is he making a false claim? There was so much to where I never found any specific evidence that where I could pick a side. But I tend to want to believe Ray. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like the guy, I haven't seen him in much of anything else lately, and I feel like he wouldn't be turning down movie roles or people that are trying to work and aren't gonna play ball usually. And so he is sticking to his guns. I feel like he probably has a real leg to stand on, and I like that. I like that he's saying, you know what, instead of just getting offered something and taking the money and swallowing his pride, I think he's a good, strong guy for standing up for himself and saying, you know what, I love the character, I love doing this, but I'm going to need an apology first. I think that's fair and cool, and I respect him for that. So yeah, you know, anybody who feels like
I agree with you, to be honest. Yeah.
Anybody who feels like they've been injusticed or discriminated against and all that, like they should stand up for themselves, and that's what he's doing. So, you know, I back him for that. So good for him.
I agree. I would say the same thing. Like, and I probably I do probably believe him. Just, you know, on all the hearsay and all that stuff like that. It seems reasonable. At the same time, they're never going to apologize to him, and the fact that he has not gotten that much work is probably I have zero evidence of this. I'm not claiming anything, but he may have been blackballed to some degree. They're not like how many movies was he in? DC movies. One.
Well,
right?
he was in 2. He was in BVS very shortly, like very briefly. And then Justice League.
But if Marvel can get rid of Terrence Howard and put in Don Cheadle and nobody notices,
yeah,
like if they can get rid of Edward,
I think
and put in that's, and they're probably going to reboot that franchise anyway. Let's be honest. So I don't see any apology coming. I don't see. Hopefully he gets a lot more work, but don't just go somewhere else. But like that ship has sailed, in my opinion. Get his story out, get your justice. But you know, man,
I think
don't beat a dead horse.
Probably end up like a you know, like Scarlett Johansson right now. They're saying, you know, I don't think she's gonna be doing any more Disney stuff. Like once you shake things up at a studio and kind of you know, people don't want to work with that.
I bet Disney's kicking its ass right now, thinking, why didn't we do the 45-day experiment with ScarJo? Like, why did we wait till Shang-Chi so she could be like, have 45 days and be like, don't put my movie on Disney Plus, you know? Like, yeah,
well, they keep on saying the same thing with Shang-Chi, which was that it was started later, so production started after Black Widow, but to be honest, yes. they tie themselves in knots. Really, Disney, that the way they try to justify their release strategy is just really weird. And as far as Ray Fisher and Warner Brothers is concerned, there will be a massive outcry if Warner Brothers were to recast Ray Fisher. It's different to the Terrence Howard thing because that was one movie, and Terrence Howard doesn't have the following that Ray Fisher does, and also the whole thing that with Terrence Howard was just he asked for way too much money to do Iron Man 2. So they just went, no, we're going to get someone else. It's a bit different with Ray Fisher. Ray Fisher would love to play the character again, would probably not ask for a pay rise. The thing that happened with him, and actually, I don't think there's anything to believe or not to believe as far as Ray Fisher's concerned, because what he's talking about is pretty well documented that it happens. A lot of the stuff that he's talking about is what happened between the cast and Joss Whedon and the crew, actually, when Joss Whedon was directing. And then Gal Gadot said the same thing as well. And Jason Momoa has been on Ray Fisher's side the whole time. So I don't really understand anyone that's saying, well, Ray Fisher, we're not quite sure what to believe and stuff like that. It's pretty obvious that what Ray Fisher is saying, maybe the optics are a bit different. Maybe in that sense, maybe there might be
it may be exaggerated, but not.
Yeah,
but it's still true.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. And I think that what he said specifically is he wants an apology from Walter Hamada, and he will never work on a film that Walter Hamada is producing. And the problem I have with that personally is that Walter Hamada wasn't actually the producer on Justice League. He came afterwards. I think Ray Fisher had the problem with Walter Hamada was trying to diffuse the whole situation and just angered Ray Fisher. Yeah, and didn't want to admit that there was a problem. But he put, to be completely fair, he put Walter Hamada in a very difficult spot, and then he outed him on social media. There are two sides to every story. I believe Ray Fisher, and I stand with Ray Fisher, and I think that what he's doing is commendable because he has literally tanked his career, possibly, by doing this so publicly. What studio is going to want to touch him now after, so he's got a reputation now for complaining. And actors don't always do that. A lot of actors just shut up and get on with it. And it's not what they should do. If there's stuff that's happened, that he's saying happened on set, then they should speak out about it. But a lot of them aren't. And, Joss Whedon's never going to work again, which is great. But you're right. They're never going to apologize to him because apologizing to him will admit defeat and will admit guilt, and then that will just they'll never do that. Warner Brothers will never ever do that. They're not going to be the bigger person here. They're just going to carry on as normal and act as though nothing happened. Right. So.
And Hamada is like, all I was trying to do is keep the drama out of here and keep things quiet because it makes the studio look bad. You know what I mean? It's a rough situation.
And Hamada's a studio man. He's worked at the same studio for years, so he's not going to go against his employers.
And we all know that it was all around a shit show. It was we had. That's why we have to have two different cuts. That's why that was just a bad situation, probably for everybody.
I will say I'm so glad that the Snyder cut came out though, because he was the heart and soul of that movie, man. After watching the Snyder cut and seeing all the storyline that got cut out of that movie, I was like, this is so much better. It was really good. So, which I'm just speaking the obvious, but it's not seeing that. And I get it if you're trying to cut down a movie and you've got these,
but it should have been several movies, man.
Which was the original plan.
But if you're trying to cut it down to 2 hours, you're gonna keep Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman in the movie, and so who's the B team guy is Cyborg. So they're gonna put him, they're gonna cut his storyline, even though it was the best storyline of the movie. It was actually the most compelling story out of the whole thing.
The one that a lot of people didn't know, the new storyline. Everybody knows Batman's storyline. Everybody knows Superman's storyline. It was the one that was intriguing because we didn't know it. We don't need another Spider-Man. Just in case anybody knows, we don't need another Spider-Man origin movie. We don't. We know how Spider-Man got his powers.
No, we don't, and that's what Marvel did. But I just want to go through some comments because people are Ray Fisher sticking to his gun and showing integrity. Good on him. Plus, the clown table is getting booted after the merger and won't be at Warner Brothers at the end of all this. Hamada Burger's failed for 4 years. True. And then Dan says he won't get an apology because that would be an admission of guilt, so it'll never happen. Yeah, that's basically that's true. That's basically what I said, and I think what we're all saying. The Warner Brothers executives are a financial and PR nightmare to any studio to any studio they're in. They won't be around after the merger. The Suicide Squad flop was their coffin nail. Okay. I'm not. I think after the merger, I would be surprised if Emmerich and Sarnoff and that lot are still around. I'm not so sure about Walter Hamada. I don't know.
He's Toby Emmerich's buddy. They work together at New Line Cinema.
The deal is that they need new blood in there, and I don't think they're going to get rid of a lot of these old guys, because that's the thing. DC dominated the market movie wise for 50 years or whatever. DC, there were no Marvel movies. They didn't exist, or like crappy TV movies or whatever, or sold properties that weren't any good. DC didn't have to worry about competing, and Marvel just came out of the gate swinging. I mean, like just like they did, in the comic books era, they came out swinging, and in the movie era, they came out swinging. And DC didn't know. There's a great book that's about the battle between Marvel and DC. And I'm looking on my Audible right now, so I can tell you what it is. But it is spectacular, and that's the thing. DC didn't know, like, they owned the market for so long, they didn't know what was coming. Same thing that happened to DC and Marvel when Image came along. All of the writers and artists decided, we're out of here. We're going to go create our own thing. They created Image Comics. That's where we got Spawn, the Max. There's plenty of Youngblood. I mean, it ended up fizzling out. Don't get me wrong. But Slugfest is a great history of the Marvel versus DC battle. And that's the thing. DC was caught off guard every time, because they were like, we're going to win. Who cares? And even though they had seen it with the comics, once Warner Brothers bought them, I think the same thing happened. They were like, we're going to win. We got Batman. We got Superman. But that's all they had made. Like, that's the thing. Like, Marvel branched out. And even if some of these movies are branching out movies are failures, even like Shang-Chi, if it's a failure, they're branching out. Somebody's going to like it. They're extending their universe. That's what Marvel was always good at. They created a universe. Metropolis doesn't really exist. Gotham doesn't really exist. The Marvel universe exists in New York, in Chicago. And, that's what was the draw. So DC's going to catch up. They're going to get it right, but they need young blood in there. That's like, hey, we're getting our ass whooped. That's just how it is. Okay, we got to bring these characters back.
Yeah, you're totally right. They need new people in, and they also need to kind of move away from the old school studio system, which I think is what Warner Brothers has been suffering from for such a long time. Like, I just want to go through some of the comments again, because Raj has a lot of stuff to say. But Hamada was enabling Whedon, Emmerich, and Jeff Johns. His behavior, Hamada isn't innocent. Never said he was innocent. Nope. Never ever said he was innocent. All I said was that there are two sides to every story, and he was put in it. If you're the head of DC Films, that's a really difficult position to be put in by Ray Fisher. And I don't. In that situation, he literally was ejected into a shitstorm,
right?
Like Walter Hamada, and
the cat sick shit tornado, and it's like, we're gonna parachute you in. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I might be shitty.
Exactly. And the guy came from, like, he was doing the New Line Cinema horror movies, the Warner Brothers Warner Brothers horror movies, which are very small budget movies that make a lot of money. So it's a very different. He shouldn't have been put into that situation in the first place. He wasn't the right person for the job. He isn't the right person for the job. The movies that he's been making haven't. I mean, his first one was Shazam, which did all right. It was pretty. People liked it. He brought in David F. Sandberg, who did one of the Annabelle films for him, and I think he did Lights Out as well. He directed that. So he brought in an interesting director to do that film. That worked. The Suicide Squad. Now, the reason it bombed is not. To be honest, I don't think it's bombed at all, really. I think if anything over 150 million in a pandemic era is not bad,
Yeah.
So let's say that, and it's a difficult situation for that movie, and I don't think that's Hamada's fault. I would be surprised if Hamada's still around after Zaslav, or whatever his name is, David Zaslav at Discovery has decided, finally, once that merger finally goes through, which we won't see that merger going through until probably 2023. So we're going to have this group of people until at least 2022. So I mean, we just got to wait and see really what happens.
Have you heard
Yeah.
all the rumors, which it's just rumors about Disney trying to buy Sony? That's like every article that's popped up on my phone. It's like Disney's buying
Really?
Sony for Sony Pictures, that
Oh.
they're trying to buy Sony Pictures, and which is not true. And then
It's coming,
because they
though.
want
It's
their
coming. Because they will.
they want their
yes.
Spider-Man back, but and then they're also there's also some people that say no, but they're trying to buy Spider-Man back, but I don't think they're going to.
Sony will never let Spider-Man go. So
No.
the only way
No,
is to
it's-
buy Sony.
It's a cash cow, yeah.
It's coming. It might not happen for 5 years, 10 years, but they're gonna get Spider-Man back.
And
I
Sony
don't
also,
think.
Go
Do you
ahead,
think
Edward.
it'd be a good? Sorry, do you think it'd be a good thing for Disney to have for Disney to have Spider-Man back?
I
I
Yes.
don't know.
Yes, for the movies, because Sony has talked about cutting them off several times, and that is Marvel's cash cow. That's Marvel. Like DC had Superman and Batman, Spider-Man has always been their top property. Okay, period. And that's what they're worried about. And I do like the freedom that Sony has taken with him. Like, hopefully Marvel would do the same thing. That's what I mean. As long as Marvel Studios stay their own entity, I'm fine. Disney's going to end up owning everything I love, so whatever. I just have to come to terms with it and bow to the mouse. But
No,
I don't think the regulatory
Oh,
committees and stuff-
everything.
Hi. Yeah. I've got a good joke.
but as long as
I got sidetracked because I thought of a Mickey Mouse joke, and I'm like, should I tell it? No, let's just keep on. Well, I've already opened the door now. Hey, did you hear about Mickey Mouse in divorce court? He
No.
goes and the judge looks at it, says you're trying to divorce Minnie Mouse on the grounds that she's crazy, and she's like, no, I didn't say she was crazy. I said she was fucking goofy. All right, there you go. Yeah. Yeah. No, that was the rumor that they're trying to buy Sony. Are you laughing over there, Edward?
It's late. I think
Yeah. No, that was some rumors. Like I opened my phone, I'm like, what the hell is this? And I started looking, and there was all these articles about it, and some of them were saying that they're buying Sony. They're trying to do this.
Did the articles come from we got
maybe
covered?
Yeah, there was a bunch of different stuff when I searched and I started looking at all this
Giant freaking robot.
But the fact of the matter is that Sony's has done so much good business lately. They're not going to do that.
Yeah, this is what I was thinking.
So many great licensing agreements with like Netflix and they've made so much money licensing their stuff out. And I also read something else about I can't think of his name, but they've got somebody that's supposed to be doing their version of some kind of live action show too, and that they think might land on Amazon. But I don't know. But I need to look. I need to reread this article before I go talking about it on the show. But I was like, "What? Another live action thing? That's a Sony Marvel thing? If I saw that right, that's really cool. And I'd love to see that." But
so I believe that the rumors are true that they are trying to buy Sony and or Spider-Man. I don't think it's going to be successful. But eventually it will. I mean, it's going to happen. And again, it might be 5-10 years down the road.
Well,
but
Sony.
It only takes Sony saying, look, he's not going to be any more Marvel movies. Marvel movies start blowing up and they make like 2 or 3 shitty Spider-Man movies that nobody wants to see because he's not in the Marvel universe and it's not tied to the Marvel universe. Now they've been doing very well with if they keep like into the Spider-Verse going and stuff like that, that's all good stuff. They keep the production levels going well, they'll be fine. They'll be able to hold out. But
They've been doubling down though with they got Morbius coming out and they've got the new Venom coming out and they've really sunk a lot into that. If they were
Craven the Hunter as well.
Craven the Hunter. Well. If they were getting sick of owning Spider-Man or just being in the movie business at all, I don't think they would be working so hard to make all these to lay the foundation for all these things that they're building. So
I don't think they're getting sick. I agree. I don't think they're getting sick. I think they want to keep Spider-Man with all their heart and they want to keep it independent. But I'm saying it just takes a few missteps to where Disney's like, here's that money, and you've bombed 3 times in a row. Like honestly. I know Craven the Hunter, that's great, but the general public, I don't know how well that would do. The first Venom was okay.
It did well though. The first Venom did well at the box office. Yeah,
right. But what's the second one? And is it going to have Tom Hardy? Is it going?
Yes, it's going to be awesome. The trailer for it is awesome. Clint likes everything. It's going to be badass. Are you kidding me?
I do actually agree with you, Clint. I think the trailer for Venom, Let There Be Carnage, is really good.
It's going to be
really
awesome.
Good. I completely get what you mean, Curtis, though. I think Sony is only a couple of mistakes away from being like, okay, we might have to sell this property off. But hey, but I don't think that I can't see Marvel, like I can't see Disney at the moment having the cash, really.
The article I read said that that their Sony Pictures, and there's been rumors in the past that Sony is thinking about getting out, getting out of the movie business and focusing on Sony products and Sony and video games and other things.
PlayStation,
stuff like that. But they've valued Sony Pictures at about 30 billion. So if they were to acquire Sony Pictures, they'd have to really ante up a lot of cat. 30 billion is a lot of is no joke, you know.
Yeah, because how much did they only bought Star Wars for? Like, was it 4 billion? They bought
4.1. And
God, that looks like such a good deal now.
I know that it's amazing. I mean,
Marvel was 4, Star Wars was 4.1, and Pixar was 15 billion, I believe.
Well, but I was hearing too that y'all might know better than me that Lucas is going to get some or all of the rights back within a few years.
I don't know about that.
I have. Yeah, so Doomplops. Say that. I hadn't heard that, but that sounds cool. You're not watching Mike Zero, are you?
No, I can't. And I don't want to lie to anybody. I'd heard that within a few years. So he's already planning another trilogy to reboot and or add on to whatever, but because he's going to get at least some of the rights back to where he will have some creative control within the next couple of years.
Wow.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think George Lucas should have anything to do with Star Wars anymore, and I think it's got to the point now where it's a bit beyond him. And I would be surprised if he even wants to come back. I thought the whole reason he sold it was so he could just enjoy the rest of his life on his Lucas ranch or whatever.
Giant.
Show his kids.
But
I think
maybe he's got bored.
Swim in the money bin.
I think that's true until after this most recent trilogy, and he's like, oh God, I got to end this thing or something like that. Again, I'll see if I can find the article or whatever I'm talking about and send it to y'all.
It does sound like
Just consider this Curtis speculation for now. Like I don't want to lie to anybody.
He was eating his breakfast and then he heard Rian Johnson trilogy. Oh hell no! And he was like, I got to do something about this. But yeah, I mean, dude's getting old too. You know what I mean? Like that's
what I'm thinking. He's getting old, and I don't think anyone wants to see another trilogy from George Lucas. Let's be honest, and I doubt he'll be able to finish that. Look at the size of the guy. He's not. I don't think he's going to be around for much longer.
Hey, be nice, Edward.
They're not going to be able to understand the stage direction because he's going to be going Waka Taka Wulu Shaka.
It's literally turned into Jabba the Hutt. His movies his next trilogy is all going to be about farming or something.
And then Indiana Jones swings in, and like.
But this This is the thing. I would have been surprised if Disney had put that into the contract. I would have thought that they would have just wanted to buy the property outright and not have any way for George Lucas to get back into it. Like, I don't know.
I might be wrong, but I was reading again. I read
It could be very, yeah.
retaining or getting some creative control back within the next couple of years. But again, I don't want to lie to you, so just consider it speculation for now.
Maybe he's allowed more set visits or something. I don't know.
If they're catered,
yeah, exactly. I'm only gonna go to this set visit if I have the food. Huh? George Lucas is. It's just I have to. I do understand people being a bit upset with the way Star Wars is going, but to be honest, like for me now, they're just like Disney kind of. It's. I don't think they're that important movies anymore. To be honest, the Star Wars films, they've kind of become a bit like trivialized now, especially after that Rise of Skywalker film. I thought that was just awful.
I just now a new report indicates that Lucas may be bankrolling an up-and-coming Star Wars trilogy, effectively taking back much of the creative control he lost when sitting Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy was put in charge of the Star Wars galaxy. It is important to note that this information remains entirely unconfirmed by either Walt Disney or Lucasfilm. Furthermore, Walt Disney Company CEO Bob Chapek recently announced that Kennedy's tenure with Disney will continue at least for the foreseeable future. That's what I dug up real quick. So,
where's that from?
Let's see here. We got the. Just kidding.
CurtisBaker.com.
Inside the Magic.
Oh, that's another one. Yeah, that's another one of those.
Inside the Magic.
This to me sounds like it's come from Doomcock. I'm gonna be honest.
Not to talk smack about other people, but have you ever seen Mike Zero's stuff? I subscribed to his. Dude, it is like his stuff is like straight up fiction. It's really fun. It's fun to watch these. They're like it is said that George Lucas has already been filming for 6 months. It's like an alternate reality that this guy is reporting, and I'm like, how does he? I have to watch to the end to get the cliffhanger of what's good. And my one of my buddies, Dustin, he always is like, I'm like, what's the matter, dude? He's like, he got me again. What? With the headline? And I clicked on it and I watched the whole thing, and it's all baloney. And it's like, yeah, and he'll say phrases like, it was said that blah 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 blah. Sources say, but they don't like, and it was said by who? Like, yeah, they don't ever have a source. It's always funny. Anyway, sorry.
No, it sounds like a whole what if thing with Star Wars.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious. So, guys at home, you got to watch out. You got to watch who you're watching. You can get sucked in. If you're dumb like I am, you'll just start clicking.
Wait a minute, dumb like you are. I'm the one that brought it up. So I was about to say, my sources are not nearly as trusted as y'all's are. Like, y'all have a better filtering system than I do.
I learned really quick that if I don't see it in Variety, Hollywood Reporter, or Dateline, then I question it and start really
you trust
Deadline, not Dateline. There's
there's
some trades you gotta wonder if it's real or not. Also, small screen's another one. If you see it on small screen, is a good bet that it's solid, but other than that, other than that, it's you really got to watch out.
Solid speculation, baby.
That's right.
But I mean, there's a lot of YouTubers out there that will, especially with Star Wars. Star Wars is a weird one. It's like there's so many YouTubers that just are desperate for George Lucas to come out. And I'm like, did you not watch the prequel trilogy? But let's be honest.
No,
and that's the world I'm talking about. In the Star Wars world, there's some really crazy stuff. You know what I mean? The comic genre is a whole nother animal. You know what I mean? But in regards to like Star Wars, there's some weird channels out there, and they get subscribers, and people just keep clicking and going back. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. And at that point, I just tried to imagine what it's like to be that guy. Like, okay, what am I going to make up today? You know what I mean? Oh, Han Solo,
Oh,
Harrison
Pedro
Ford,
Pascal.
Yeah,
Pedro Pascal wants to leave the Mandalorian because he doesn't like wearing the helmet.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh man, it's so weird. Anyway, I don't know how we got on this rabbit hole, but
well, the deal is that's the thing. I think the Star Wars main trilogy is kind of tapped out, but there are so many other. Me being a nerd, while Clint was playing guitar and having sex, I was reading comic books and Star Wars books. Like, if they go into the Thrawn trilogy, there are so many other. Exactly. Play that chord again. Play that chord again.
No. I'm like, hold on, I'm out of tune. Hold on. All right.
But like, I was reading this stuff, and there are so many other alternate storylines that they can go down. They don't like all of it is based on it's the same thing with comic books. You don't want to get in the rabbit hole syndrome, but they haven't at all. They're tapping to the same well over and over again.
Yeah.
Like there are whole other storylines that exist. And once Disney bought them, they said, well, you know what, the books aren't canon, which kind of pissed a lot of people off. But they can still use those. They can still, draw from those and get these damn good storylines that are like, it's in the universe. And it's gonna be good. I promise you guys. Some of these stories.
I had been begging for Thrawn for a long time, and you know who reported that? Small screen.
Oh baby.
Yeah.
Thinking, that was one that went under the radar, to be honest. And then I was like, oh, well, all right, whatever. But that's fun that Lars Mikkelsen is coming back for that to do Thrawn.
So
anyone
we're
else
starting
would be
the
ridiculous.
Small Screen Book Club. Go out and read the Thrawn trilogy, and we will talk about it next week.
I have to say, I read the new Thrawn trilogy, so the one that I forgot, Timothy Zahn, is that his name? That he did. The last one I didn't think was very good. I'm going to be honest; it was a bit too. Is it Alliances? I think it's called.
No.
The last one, no.
Well, I haven't. I'm just saying I haven't read the new Thrawn.
The new
trilogy,
ones, yeah.
But does it start with the Outbound Flight? Do you remember?
It's a bit different. Yeah, they changed it. So it's the whole trilogy starts off with him being hunted, I think, on some sort of planet that he's ended up on. Well, he's hunting. Yeah, the first book's good. Yeah, the first book's good. The second book is all about the first book is all about how Thrawn becomes Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Mm-hmm.
That one's
and
really
then the
good.
second. The first book is really good. Then the second book is mainly Thrawn and Darth Vader working together, which is pretty fun as well. The third one is just, it becomes too political, and it's a lot of it is about the Emperor playing Darth Vader and Thrawn off one another, which is also interesting. It's interesting to read and then think, oh, this is going to be interesting to see where Thrawn ends up in the kind of TV version, the TV world of Star Wars. I'm pretty sure that we're going to see in Ahsoka that Thrawn has got a lot of ties to the Emperor Palpatine. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen, and he's going to be one of his great allies, and is the way that he ends up on that planet is probably got something to do with Thrawn as well. So I'm pretty sure, because it's in they both, if you watch Rebels, Thrawn and Ezra Bridger end up going into the outer regions, don't they? It's all to do with it's all a bit. It's late and I'm forgetting words and stuff. So, but it's all Star Wars. It's all nonsense, but it's fun. And I think Thrawn is going to be a real big deal for Star Wars moving forward, and that's them going into the expanded universe and kind of picking out characters, which they're doing more of now, which I like.
They could go back into the older stuff, like the Darth Bane books. To me, again, the third one kind of falls a little bit flat for me. But I like that whole thing was great too. Like there's so many other storylines, but there are no movies about them. There's nothing.
They're doing TV shows though. So we are getting what's it called?
The Acolyte?
The Acolytes, which is Leslie Headland's series, which that will go into those sorts of areas, the beginnings of the the Sith, I think, isn't it? It's the beginnings of the Sith.
Yes.
So that'll be quite interesting. I think it's going to be a very political show, and it's going to be a bit different. So I think that they're trying to do what Marvel's been doing. I think with their TV shows, I do wonder whether Star Wars is just going. I mean, I know we've got the Kevin Feige Star Wars movie coming. We've got Taika Waititi doing a Star Wars film. We've got Patty Jenkins doing a Star Wars film. And we still apparently got Rian Johnson's trilogy coming as well, which I don't know if that's ever going to happen or not. I think he's probably all tied up with Knives Out, to be honest. But I think the future of Star Wars isn't as bleak as everyone's making out to be. I actually think it's going to be quite good. And I think that they learned from their mistakes, and they made mistakes with the sequel trilogy. And I'm pretty Kathleen Kennedy. If we're talking about really good producers, we talked about this on our very first and only "Are They Villains" episode, Clint, about Kathleen Kennedy. She is one of the greatest Hollywood producers of all time. Like if you see the movies she's produced, she is. I think it's her and Kevin Feige, and they're both at Disney. So. So I'm not worried about it, and I think Doomcock and Mike Zero should well, they do it for clicks, don't they? Let's be honest.
That's exactly. They got me again.
Yeah. So I wouldn't worry. Maybe George Lucas might come in and they might be like, you know what? We'll give you a TV show. Let's see what you can do with if you can do that Underworld TV show or whatever you wanted to do.
And that's the thing. So as much as some people don't want to see George Lucas on another project again, some people are begging for him to do another project again. And I'm in neither camp. I don't think the originals were as bad as a lot of people thought, or not the originals. The prequels, not the prequels. Everybody.
I thought the originals were terrible. The prequels were incredible.
I don't think the prequels were as bad as a lot of people thought. With a rewatch in the theaters, it was like, oh fuck, we did it again. But with a rewatch and stuff like that, they are cohesive. It's a coherent story. I can't say that about the third trilogy or the second. The next
sequel.
The Palpatine.
The Disney.
Saga. They call it the Skywalker saga. It's the freaking Palpatine saga. It's not the Skywalker saga. So it wasn't coherent. It wasn't a cohesive story. It wasn't, and each individual movie I would say is not necessarily bad, but it was not a trilogy by any means.
No.
And
I think that's the problem they had, that they didn't plan ahead. That was their massive problem. They just made three independent movies and tried to connect them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and quasi connect them even almost, like, I don't know.
I like the originals. I like the originals better than the Vampire Diaries. The Vampire Diaries wasn't so good, but the originals was a great show. I'm just kidding. Hey, we jumped off of task, and I was wondering if you wanted to talk about why the Suicide Squad is not performing in theaters. Like,
oh wow, Clint, well done, bringing us back on track.
Yeah, I was curious because I'm curious your theories, and I've got mine.
All right. I'll bring up the banner. Right, Suicide Squad not doing very well at the box office. Why? I'll kick it off. I think the answer is pretty obvious. It's the pandemic, and the pandemic and confusing marketing. I think the whole idea of the Suicide Squad, and people are so honestly. I didn't really think they were, but I'm talking to people that don't write about this stuff every day like I do. Majority of people are really confused with what the Suicide Squad actually is. Is it a sequel? Is it a prequel? Is it a reboot? Is it it's everything. It's apart from prequel. It's not a prequel. It's a sequel and a reboot in one. And I think they kind of because the way it was done, because they kept certain characters and brought in other characters and kept certain actors and didn't bring in other actors, Will Smith, people got very confused with what this movie is. I think the R rating is also a reason. Because it's R rated, it automatically will cut your audience basically in half. The Suicide Squad was a movie back in 2016 that like 14, 15 and 16-year-old boys they were desperate to go and see that movie. Now they can't go and see the Suicide Squad. really like at cinemas. They would love to. I'm pretty sure they would love to go and see that, but they can't. There's that element as well. So I think it's a mixture of everything. I've rewatched it now. I've watched it 3 times, The Suicide Squad, which I haven't done for a long time. The more I watch the film, the more I like it. And there's so much to like about that movie. I think it suffered as well from the whole David Ayer thing. I think there's a section of the fandom which is, I want to see the Ayer cut, but I do not want to go boycott James Gunn's version because Warner Brothers cut. Yeah,
that's a very good point. I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's a combination of all those things, I think, which is why it's not done as well as people thought it would do. But then again, 158 million worldwide is not terrible. It's not brilliant, but it's not terrible.
Yeah, I think it did 26 million out of the gate
in the
in the
opening
US
weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's hard to sell tickets in a pandemic when the movie is for free. It's free. It's free on at home. Do I want to go? Do I want to go sit in a crowded theater next to somebody that's coughing on me, or do I want to sit at home and watch it for free? I'm gonna watch it for free. I actually saw it in the theater, so I went and saw it in the theater, and then I came home and I watched it again at home. But I think people are like, well, the other ones are available. The other ones are $30, like the other movies that are coming out. So
yeah, like Black Widow and all those films.
Yeah, free. We already all have HBO Max, so it's like, man. Which, by the way, I want to give I want to tell you guys to go watch Titans if you haven't seen the season 3 of Titans. That show's really been good this season.
That show is really, really good. So for the first 2 episodes, I've really loved.
Yes, very good show.
Yeah, with Suicide Squad, I think a lot of things. I do recognize what Edward was saying is that many people that I know that have seen it don't know what's going on with it. Whether it's to me, and I was actually a Suicide Squad. I'm very much a Marvel guy. I didn't even really see I didn't see the first one, and until this one came out, and Clint was talking about it, I watched both of them back to back. To me, it seemed like maybe not a straight up sequel because not everybody was in it, but that's kind of the idea of it. Will Smith's doing good with his daughter. He's not going to go on some fucking suicide mission again. Like, he's got his deal. He's done. They can bring him back. I'm not saying that they can't, but to me, but there are very, very many people who are very confused about what it is. And the pandemic is kind of a big deal. A lot of movies that I would have seen in theaters, it's just not worth it to mess with. Especially if it is available. Straight up, I wouldn't have seen the new one. I love every James Gunn movie. I can say I can't say he's made a bad one yet, and someone can correct me, but in my opinion, so far he has not written or directed a bad one.
Well, he wrote the Scooby-Doo films, which weren't great.
They weren't great, but they weren't terrible. They
weren't terrible.
He wrote Dawn of the Dead.
He wrote
Dawn of the Dead. Really that sucked. That was terrible. Just kidding. It was a fantastic movie.
Just cut him off. We're done with this guy. Hey, Slither. He wrote and directed Slither. I
haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, Slither's really good.
That's what everyone says.
I'm not a massive fan of Super. That's the film that he directed that kind of got him the Guardians of the Galaxy gig, but it's a bit boring, that one.
I wouldn't say, I don't know if I'm a massive fan, but I really liked it because especially whenever it was that was the one with Ellen or Elliot Page.
Elliot Page, yeah. And the guy from The Office, I'm forgetting his name. Rainn Wilson.
When she was so or just seeing her his character killed was so eye-opening to like, hey, you know what? You're doing some real stuff here. Like this, I thought it was a very good movie. Again, I don't know if I'm a super fan of it or anything like that, but I would not call it a bad movie.
It's not bad. It's not a bad movie, but I think people did question the film a bit when it came out because there's a kind of icky
very
in
much
the movie.
so.
Yeah,
He wrote,
which is what James Gunn wanted.
Yeah, he wrote Belko. If you haven't seen Belko,
Belko Experiment.
That's spectacular to me. That's his wheelhouse.
Yeah,
and he's playing in the PG-13 arena. Like that's gonna be like to me, and that's kind of why I'm a horror fan. That's kind of why I am there for him, probably more so. But yeah, that's what I think. I think that
I'm a huge fan of dick and fart jokes, so like that guy's sense of humor is right up my alley. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, yes, okay. The 13-year-old in me enjoys every minute of all of those movies. Hey there, you got a company.
I think there's I mean, I think we kind of, in a nutshell, explained why it hasn't been doing as well. So I don't think it's because it's a bad movie by any means. Yes, and the HBO Max thing is a big factor as well in America, especially. That is the main reason why it didn't do as well as Free Guy. Let's be honest, because Free Guy can only be seen in the cinemas. And
we're having a spike right now that's pretty bad. You know what I mean? So it's like it's really affecting us right now. And so y'all had that a while back, huh? Like as the Delta thing is gone down over there. Here it got to us late, and now we're having it. So it's just everybody's scared to go out. Everybody's like places that all of a sudden everybody's got masks on everywhere again and things, and so it's just a weird time. And I wonder how it's going to affect the movies. I wonder if we're going to always have movie theaters, or if they're just going to call it a day. We're going to keep getting variants and then call it a day. Like, hey, we're just going to have streaming now. I don't know. It's weird. I hope not. I love going to the movies.
Well, I think they are comparing everything to Godzilla versus Kong because that was such a mega hit. It was now. First of all, it was Godzilla versus Kong, which is, I mean, I'm a Godzilla fan, so so I'll nerd out in any arena you want now. But Godzilla versus Kong was the #1 box office draw for any Godzilla and or Kong movie beforehand, so they knew it was going to be a mega draw. And it hit right as everything was opening up. Like it was, so I think they're going off and they have these unrealistic expectations because if the world didn't revert back to a year ago, yeah, that's what it probably should have been. But it's like the world, people are stupid. And the world did revert back to a year ago. So.
Yeah. I think we've got one last bit of. I don't think we're going to do the Stephanie Beatriz thing this evening. I will say that Stephanie Beatriz is voicing Batwoman in an upcoming Catwoman animation, which is cool, called Catwoman Hunted, and I am a massive fan of Stephanie Beatriz. If you haven't watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, you should all go and watch it. She's brilliant in it, and I've always thought she should play Batwoman, and she's voicing her, which is, I think, as close as we're going to get to her being, playing Batwoman. I don't think she's ever going to get to play Batwoman in live action, which is a shame. And also, she's pregnant, so congratulations to Stephanie, and lots of good stuff happening for her. And Brooklyn Nine-Nine is back on finally, which is good as well. It's one of my favorite shows, so I'm very, very excited about that. But what I think we should end with is Free Guy. So we did talk a bit about this earlier, that Free Guy is being released in China, which I was talking about movies that do well and don't do well in China. I think Free Guy is the type of film that will do incredibly well in the Chinese market. I'm predicting it now. I think the film's going to really blow up over there. But what do you guys think? Have you seen Free Guy yet? Are you interested in this movie at all? Let me know. You're muted.
You're muted, buddy.
You're muted.
Sorry. Okay. I'll go first because I have not seen it. I think I have I'm gonna tap out here.
Yep.
Y'all have seen it, and y'all can discuss it further. I love you all. Have a wonderful evening.
Curtis,
Thank you,
great,
Curtis.
Great night, and happy birthday to your wife, man.
Thank you. I'm gonna go get beat up right quick, and y'all have fun.
All right, Curtis. Have
Cheers.
a great
Thank
one,
you for
man.
having me. Thank you very much.
Thanks
No,
for
thank you for
thanks
coming
joining
on.
us.
Cheers, Curtis.
All right. What did I think, man? I think that Free Guy could be extremely successful anywhere in the galaxy. That movie was fantastic. It was just fun and great. It was like I think anyone would like this. In any country would like this. So yes, it would definitely be able to tap into the Chinese market and be successful because it is a fantastic movie. Have you seen it yet, Edward?
I haven't seen it yet because it's again, I'm in Italy, so the only way I can
Gotcha.
see films is if I get screeners for them, and Disney has not provided, unfortunately. But I will say that there are elements of this film that I wanted to talk about, which is just from the marketing alone, which is why I think it's going to do really well in China. Number one, Ryan Reynolds is the type of actor that Chinese audiences will love. He's good looking. He's blonde. He's you've also got Jodie Comer in there, who is magnificent. So Ryan Reynolds is a pretty big name in China already. He's pretty well known over there. He's done a lot of. I don't know if you saw when he went to South Korea. He did. It's an incredible video where he did The Masked Singer. In South Korea, he sang. I can't remember what it was. It's so good. It's so good. He actually got a very good voice. The guy's got a very good voice. So he's constantly been doing things like that. The marketing for this film, I think, is brilliant as well. And it's a video game movie, really. It's not a video game movie. It's not based on a video game, but it's about a video game. And Chinese audiences are really into that sort of thing. Like PC gaming is huge in China. So I really, really think this is the kind of film that will do very well over there. Like Warhammer, which is, a video game property, did incredibly well in China. This isn't based on an IP, but I think it's the kind of movie that they'll find interesting and they'll want to go and see. So I think it's going to do really well.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. This movie is like a roller coaster ride. It's like an amusement park thing. The entire experience, it's an experience. This movie is an experience. It's fun, start to end. You fall in love with the character. It's in the weird way that like Forrest Gump was like an innocent character, so you just automatically love him, and he's bumbling his way through the story, and you just latch onto the guy. You just want to love him. That's the same way that Ryan Reynolds' character is in this movie. You just like him automatically, and he starts becoming aware and starts falling in love and having feelings, and there's feelings and cool storytelling, and then there's also like a Groundhog Day element where people keep waking up over and over again. You know what I mean? Like Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's a lot of cool stuff without spoiling the movie or anything, but it's just got a lot of really cool elements, epic action sequences, and then a really cool fight. And there's a few like, I don't know if Easter eggs is the right word for them, but it's kind of a nods to other franchises that happen, and it makes everybody in the theater want to go, yeah. So it's it's a lot of really cool.
There's some cameos that I've heard about that are pretty fun. Yeah,
it's fun. It's really good.
I really want to see this. But this is a film that this is the film that I really wanted to see in cinemas. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to. But I was up for this movie when I first heard about it. I thought it was a really fun idea, and I just, the cast is so good. Like I'm not the biggest fan of Ryan Reynolds in the world, but I think in this sort of role he really works. And I think Jodie Comer is amazing. If you haven't seen Killing Eve, she is brilliant in that. She's really, and talking of accents, oh my god, like she can do. She's from Liverpool, so she has a really, really harsh Liverpudlian accent, which I don't know if you ever heard. You probably heard. Well, you've heard of the Beatles, haven't you, Clint?
Yeah,
yeah. They're from Liverpool. They had kind of they started off with pretty strong Liverpudlian accents and then spent too much time in America and they kind of dumbed down. But Jodie Comer's got a strong Liverpool accent. In this, she does a British accent. In Killing Eve, she does all sorts of accents, which is brilliant. She's just a fabulous actor, and I'm really happy that they cast her in the movie. You've got Taika Waititi as the villain in this film. I think Taika is brilliant. I think he's great in everything he's in, and it's bringing back Ryan Reynolds and Taika Waititi after Green Lantern, which is fun. I mean, that's a little cameo Easter egg for you guys there. So, and I like Sean Levy. I think Sean Levy is actually an underrated director. I really like the Knights of the Museum films, which he directed. He's a producer on Stranger Things. So he's somebody that you should take notice of, and he knows how to do good, fun blockbusters, which is what this is. It seems like it's a good, fun, positive, happy blockbuster about video games, which I'm excited to see.
Yeah, it was. Get ready, man. It's a ride. It's a lot of fun.
So we got for Raj saying Free Guy was positive, happy, and fun, which is just what I said. I swear I didn't read your comment before saying that. And people want more of that, especially with what's happened over the last 2 years. Completely agree with you. Completely agree with you. And then actually, Dan says quite a good point. He says, very good point. Maybe the Death Vibe and the Suicide Squad went against it in terms of box office. Maybe. And then Chrysler says the cameo at the end. So apparently there's a big cameo at the end of this movie. So it seems as though a lot of people are tempted by this film and want to go and see it, which is probably why it's already doing very well at the box office. It's number one, took the Suicide Squad off number one in America, and I'm pretty sure it's going to do pretty well overseas as well. So yeah, I think that'll about do it for the show. It's been over 2 hours. It's 2:30 a.m. in the morning for me.
Edward,
so
you gotta
Clint,
take your ass to bed, man.
Yeah. Where can they find you, Clint? Where can the people find you?
Guys, you can find me at if you want to hit me up on Twitter. I'm the OG Clint Baker on Twitter, and you can find reviews. Yeah, there it is. You can find reviews and a new show called Versus on Tuesday nights at youtube.com/Clint Baker channel. So come hang out with us. And as always,
you'll find him, and then you'll find him. I'm bringing them all out now, and then you'll find the guy that did this. Brilliant.
Oh, look at that!
This is just so good, so good. What's this? Interesting. James has been adding stuff here. I'm just going through what James has been adding, and yeah, so you can find me here. There's my my toothpaste ad at Small Screen Co. and at EJ Lauder. You can find me at Small Screen. Yeah, that's where you find me, at Small Screen. You can also go to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/Small Screen Co. And you can find me in Clint's house right now, looking shocked. What's happening over there, Clint?
I don't know. I'm Edward.
Oh dear. And I also want to thank, I got to get it up, our Patreon. So I want to thank Kazax. I want to thank Danzig
1979.
And I also want to
Sean Soundtracks.
And last but definitely not least,
Bobby.
And finally,
I've just seen Loki episode 5, and it's everything you'd hoped it would have been. I cheered, I cried, I fist pumped the air. It's everything. Just everything you could have hoped it would have been. I'm so excited for you to see it.
Wow. What? Where's my frickin' jet ski? Where's my jet ski, damn it? Wow.
How many more of these?
Pew,
pew, pew, pew, pew, pew.
Wow. 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 What's up, gang? Looks like we're still live. I wonder if Edward forgot to shut it down.